Hey everybody. Hey, how you doing out there? Can you hear me okay? Let's see. Well, the volume should be up, so you should be able to hear me, see me, and everything else. Definitely want you to be on my top chat list. So go ahead and put your information in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from, especially if you're coming in on the replay. Again, the platform today is YouTube. And welcome, welcome, welcome. But guess what? It is the weekend, so I had to check in. Now, I haven't been doing multiple lives on YouTube, but that is going to change. And I wanted to let you know that if you look at my YouTube profile, you will notice, go back a bit over the last, I'm going to say 3 years now, close to 3 years, and roughly in the time frame of the fall as we will be coming into the fall season. I've been talking about career development from a whole different frame of mind. And, most of my videos have been uploaded to YouTube, especially the ones where my podcast show, Speak to Me First podcast show. Again, Speak to Me First podcast show. And I've taken a lot of those interviews and have uploaded them video wise via Zoom to YouTube and other platforms. So there's no way you can miss a beat if you're checking in, and even if you come in on the replay, which many people do, you will find that you'll be able to go back and revisit and like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you do that. You can do that from your phone or your computer, any device really. So I don't want you to just look at the video on YouTube and then you don't go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as even right from your phone. You can go to Spotify or Google Cast or anywhere that you get your podcast from, and make sure you subscribe. Click the button, subscribe, like, and share. So that helps me currently. And since I just brought that up, my, well, the, not the YouTube channel, but my podcast, that has gone to about 21, 22 countries right now, including the continent of Africa. And I'm very happy about it because for a while I didn't know what to expect. And a lot of times we just really don't know. We're out here in our careers. We're doing the best that we can. Some of us are near retirement and are still working, or you might find yourself going back into the workforce, even as an older worker or more mature worker, which is what I'm going to get into a little bit today, and some of the pitfalls of that. So you should be really, if you're out there and you're still in the workforce, whether, much younger or much more mature, meaning you've seasoned worker, you've been out there well over, 10, 20, 30 years, and you're close to retirement, but you still find yourself being in that workforce, doing something else, changing careers, what have you. My podcast and my YouTube, my lives are for you. So, in this one in particular today. So with that said, I want to welcome anyone and everyone who will tune in and see me live. Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. So let me start by, of course, you can see my banner, and my name is Toye, Coach Toye, the No Sugar Coating Coach. That's my tagline. You can hashtag that out. I appreciate it if you will. And essentially, Toye Johnson-VINCENT. I am a speaker. That is my first love, is for speaking. Secondly, it would be training, meaning soft skills training. And then thirdly would be coaching as a certified life coach, helping people to both navigate both their careers, because people have multiple careers these days, and or their life skills journey. So there's a somewhat of a tier that I have in terms of my own career. And I'll tell you straight off the bat, as I said, no sugarcoating it. A lot of what I've done in the past, it hasn't always landed me on my feet, meaning I had to struggle either to get there, to do something different. I had to turn something around, pivot. And we all did for the most part, even including when COVID and all of that first started. But aside from doing that, I'm just talking about in general because I have been in the workforce for over 20 years. So doing something, either it was in a capacity of human resources on a full-time basis, or in later parts of my career it was more of contract basis. And by the way, yeah, I am still available in case anybody's listening and want to know, well, do you still do any HR projects? Are you still doing soft skills training? Well, the soft skills training, that really never stopped. But in terms of HR projects that has to do with recruiting, and possibly some training. I am very open to that. And so the answer is yes, yes, and yes. I am still out there on the market. My LinkedIn profile tells you I'm open to work. So what does that mean? That means exactly what it says. I am open to work and I don't leave any stone unturned. So I let you know. And this is the deal. I just like people might come to me regarding coaching and what have you. If I'm not really doing what I'm saying, then what is the point, right? Because I'm interested in helping people who, this is the way I tell you. I tell you, you're already successful. You are already successful. And that is the truth. So when I say that, let's see something. We're going to change up here. Okay. So when I see you out there, or you approach me, or you try to contact me, you say, hey, I'm having an event, I'd like you to speak, but I also know someone who is working on an HR project. Yes, I'd love to hear about it. And that's the truth. Again, I don't leave any stone unturned. And one of the things, if it's something that is not a good fit for me, or it's a particular project that I'm not available at that time, then I like to pass on that information, which is why it's so significant when you hashtag networking, because networking can actually work, which, by the way, was one of my signature topics a few years ago. But I am always available and willing to do that particular or present on that topic. So let me just say, with all these lives and everything, people say, well, who are you really? What do you do? What is your background? And if you check out any of my previous videos, you'll find that I tell you. And the first thing I usually say, well, I'm, a native of New York, New York City, that is, born in Queens, Jamaica, Queens, Hollis, St. Albans area. If you know, you know. But again, mostly raised in Brooklyn, Crown Heights section of Brooklyn. Yes, what's up, Brooklyn? Anybody there? Anybody here? Make sure when you come in, just say where you are from as well. And to my international, audience, welcome, welcome, welcome. And I also do have, I call them extended family in internationally, if you will. So if you're out there in London, England, shout out to you. So yeah, because I have, extended family, as I like to refer to them, in that area, London, across the pond, if you will. So yeah, but I just basically want to say a little bit more about me. Well, I started my career in human resources, and my major was in communications, speech communications. And there's a story behind that, because one of my roommates at the time, Northeastern University, shout out to NU Huskies, go Huskies in Boston, and we were just going in between classes. I had multiple roommates, but at this time I had a total of two, and it was the three of us together. And, sadly, neither one of them they're both deceased now. But one in particular, and she was also a communications major, but in a different area of communication, because it's public relations, community affairs. There was so many, communication technology, all of that. But I was just looking at it from a fact of speech communications, being able to present speeches or even write them, create them, if not for me, for someone else. Now, I never actually written a speech for someone else, but I have. What I have done is assist people with how to interview, and in my opinion, it's kind of similar to that speech because you need to know about the elements of taking your conversation to go back and forth, whose turn is it to speak, how do you really build your content around your background, your employment background, career background, so that the employer understands who they are actually interviewing without asking you 45 questions just to get to one, something that you should have been able to communicate right up front. So in that regards, yes, I train people how to interview, and I've been invited to classes, including nonprofit organizations, to talk about interviewing skills. What are the things? What are we lacking? Where do people lack in terms of networking? Why it's important? Things on those topics. How to stay motivated throughout job loss and the job search. You lose your job, but now you got to go back into a job search. So it's a different ball game. Um, so those are some of the things in my topics that I talk about, but and have talked about. And so what I eventually did was bridge the gap between human resources, interviewing, soft skills training, and because of my love for speaking to an audience, whether it's virtual or in person, which I prefer it to be in person, just an FYI, inbox me or message me if you are interested in me speaking to your group, your audience. This is the time. Catch me while you can. We're getting close to the fall season and things start to really build up. People pull you in different directions, but I just want to put it out there. Again, if you don't toot your own horn, who will, right? If you don't promote yourself, who will, right? Marketing, all of that. Um, and then one day, and I want you to understand what this live is really about, because when we make really big mistakes with our careers, it can cost us. And what I mean by that, it can cost you in terms of dollars and cents later on in life. Like I said, I've already been in the workforce for well over 20 years. And believe me, if you're close to retirement or just around the corner from retirement, or you've already retired, but you found yourself because of financial reasons, or maybe it's health reasons that you had to spend your money to keep healthy, but you still need to kind of revamp that nest egg, if you will, and then you found yourself back into the workforce. What does that look like for the more mature worker, the older worker, if you will? So instead of collecting on your retirement or your pensions or your social security, whatever it is, income that you were relying on, now you're back into the workforce. And that gets a little bit of interesting, not a little, but a lot. Um, and it's just the reality is, you have to understand that is really my why, because what I do, why I like to do what I do, is terms of coaching and speaking, presenting on these topics, because so many people don't even have a clue. Like you can literally, and I found this, including friends or family, you can literally have been on your job all these years. But if I asked them a particular question or a scenario, or we were discussing it, you'd be amazed and surprised how many, and again, family and friends and extended people included, that I've come in contact with, people who I never met at all, right? Just saying what I do. And sometimes people will divulge exactly what their issues were when it comes to the employment, re-employment, re-entering the workforce after so many years. They just thought they would settle down. And now they're in the workforce again, or they're trying to gain entry or re-entry, but their skill level have diminished. Their skill levels have diminished. And because of one major thing, they just thought they were set for life. in that job, in that space, right now, in this very time we're talking about, 2023, but they've been in this workforce since maybe the 70s, 80s, 90s. So some people, close to 40 years they've been working, right? After college or whatever they've got out in 40 years ago in college. So they should be settling down and retired, enjoying their grandchildren or someone in their family that they wanted to spend more time with. But what they're getting ready to do is re-enter the workforce. And now it's kind of, what do I do? Interview. They barely even talk to their family members and friends, but you actually believe that they're looking at themselves and saying, I don't talk to anybody. I stay to myself. I this, I that. And they say, Coach Toye, I just don't know. I'm not used to, or I'm shy. I can't talk only, but maybe to you, but I can't see myself being asked a question about interviews at this point in my life. Maybe they're 50, 60 something years old, and they're saying, and I like to say years young, not old, but they want to be in the workforce, and for different reasons. Now, there are some people that they're happy as I don't know what, because they are fully retired. They're not claiming any job, but now what they want more information on is how to start their own business, become an entrepreneur of any sort, even if it's a very small business. And when I say small business, it doesn't mean small-minded business. It means they have big dreams. They are still alive and kicking, and they still want to get down with the get down and doing their own thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. So that may be you. And if that's you, let me know. Okay. I mean, it's just amazing. You know, amazingly, you have to wonder, well, what else is going on? What else is going on? Why today? Because I just kind of wanted to get into it because I've had these conversations over and over with a lot of people, or I've listened to lives. Yeah, I love it. I love to listen to other people's lives. I love to listen to career shows, when people just put on things that's all about career talk and everything. And I used to do a live myself with Talking with Toy on Tuesdays via Facebook. And I haven't done that in a while, but that's only because I do more with my podcast show, LinkedIn. You can find me over there almost anytime. So again, make sure you inbox and invite me to speak, inspire, motivate, and empower on any platform. Just make sure you do that, and I appreciate you in advance. But yeah, getting down to it, where people are just saying, I don't know what to do. I have no clue. Now I'm finding myself re-entering this workforce, and I'm of a certain age worker. And I'd like to refer to that worker as a mature worker. Okay. I don't say it's an older worker. I know we hear it and we see it, but I mean, old is relative. It's like, well, I don't know what your old means. Okay. and and the people who are saying this, if you look at them, you wouldn't. It'd be hard to tell what their age really is, unless I know them personally. But for that mature worker that has been in a very seasoned worker, been in the workforce 30, maybe 40 years, certainly well over 20, or right at 20, coming up on 20. It's amazing that when you sometimes, people can make you feel like, well, why are you even coming back here? What do you plan? What are your plans to accomplish? Anything at this point in your life? What are your strategies? And this is what I say: don't forget about when people are trying to figure out, well, what do you expect to change, or what are your real expectations? I would say I have many, and the expectations will go as high as you want them to go. Whatever you feel in your life is right for you. It's not about what someone else wants to see you do. It really lies within you. This video is for many people, and many people will tap in, and I'm going to applaud whomever comes in on the replay. Just make sure, that you got my website, and you can invite me to speak and all of that. Make sure you check out and follow me on all social media platforms. But I'm telling you, you can accomplish anything that you want. I mean, if you're in a healthy state, no matter what your age is, right, or your circumstances, and you really need some of that extra money to roll around so that you can enjoy um, full retirement and all of that. But just do it if that's what you want to do. Now, the key is, how do you get an employer to actually pay attention to you? How do you get that employer to say, wow, I see this person, the resume looks like they've almost aging out, meaning somewhat towards retirement, right? And that's before you put in all that paperwork if you do hire. Now, okay, great, they know your age. Okay, now what? But you're hired. And they, 9 times out of 10, they hired you for your skill. They didn't hire you because of your age. They hired you because of your skill. And if you've been in the workforce for many years, you should be considered a seasoned professional. Okay, mature worker, that may be something inside of your head internally that you say to yourself. But what I'm saying to you, say something else. Just say, if you're a seasoned professional, I mean, that's what it is. Um, and if you don't want any labels, don't give yourself any labels. It's really your mindset is the one that's going to allow you to flourish. So, again, you know, for those of you just coming in, I'm Toye Johnson-Vincent, your no sugarcoating coach, event speaker, motivational speaker, you name it, I speak. Keynote, note key, backwards, forwards, I do it. Soft skills training, certified life coach to help you navigate both your career and or your life journey skills. And of course, I am the host, the wonderful host of Speak to Me First podcast show. Speak to Me First podcast show. That you can find it anywhere you get your podcast. So you just go on your phone and go ahead and download the episode, share, like, but don't forget, just like here on this platform, make sure you hit the subscribe button to Speak to Me First podcast show. And if you've missed any of the episodes, a lot of times I will upload it here on YouTube channel as well. So, but I'd love you to check out my show. And I'm currently in about 22 countries, including the continent of Africa. So, yeah, and growing. How about that? So for me, I had already been in the workforce. We're just talking about, the mature worker, someone meaning you didn't just come out of high school, you didn't just graduate from college or university or trade school. You basically have been in the workforce, perhaps around that 20-year mark, right? Going maybe even close to 30 years. Because a lot of people say, well, 25 years, they've already vested, they've already done that at their jobs, so now they're going to retire. And they retire usually even before 65, which we always thought growing up, 65 is the retirement age. Think again, because those times have really changed now. It's true. 60, some people say 65, what are you kidding me? I'm still working. So, and enjoying what they're doing, not just that they're working and they're like they dread going in every day, and to keep the mind sharp. So there's a lot of good things about working, as you age. And scientists and all of the medical professionals. I mean, you can probably YouTube that or Google it, and you'll see somebody talking about why should you stay in the workforce to keep your mind sharper and everything, prevent diseases and all. Just some kind of journey of that. I'm not a clinician. I'm not anything medical at all is in my background. So, but you might want to check out some of those YouTube stories or as such. Yeah, but there's some strategies, and I just wanted to say, when you're talking about that mature worker, and that may be you, I hope it's you I'm talking to today. And if it's not, you make sure you share this video, this YouTube, and say, hey, Coach Toye was talking about the workers who are aging and they are still in the workforce, or they have retired but they're re-entering the workforce, or they're just looking, and for different reasons. Again, number one could be financial, and the other could be just, I'm not kidding you, people will tell you they're just bored. They're retired, but they're bored, and they have a lot of skill set left in them that they want to share. They want to optimize financially, and so I hear you, and I'm all for it. If you're well and you're healthy and you can do it, by all means. And if you want to do it, but there's got to be something that you understand when you're approaching that decision, because now the expectations are also different. We're not where we were 30, 40 years ago when you came into the workforce. It's a completely different ball game. How to interview, how to stay connected with, even including social media. Everything has changed, right? Because even me growing up or going to college, I wasn't doing social media. I mean, my social media were the people who were around me. That included roommates, that included extended friends, maybe from home you connect or reconnect from time to time. But realistically, it was just basically uh, relationships that were built from corporate, working in corporate America, and getting to understand what someone else does, and then trying to follow them, and all of these different things, making mistakes, going to the wrong jobs. You're sitting in a job, didn't like it, I'm in my 20s. Now I'm sitting in a job, don't like it, I'm in my 30s. Now I'm sitting in another job, I don't like it, I don't like the people, I don't like the place, I don't like anything, and I'm in my 40s, right? So you just have to, and you see where I'm going with this. You can keep going, age up, age up, age up, but the rules will change. The games are changed. So what I say to you is, you, capital YOU, have to be a game changer. You, I'm going to bring this in, rein it in. You hear me? You have to be a game changer. Yes, you do. And why is that? Because if you don't, then you're not going to be able to hang out with everybody else who, quite frankly, I mean, they may be a lot of youth on their side in terms of, you know, numbers, how old somebody is, but they may be just coming into that workforce, but they may actually be training you. And now you're just going back into the workforce, and you are a more seasoned and more mature worker, right? So now somebody is training you, and you have to listen to them. You have to understand. You have to, respect is really the key in the workforce right now. It is the key. Earning respect, learning how to respect one another, their values, where they're coming from, how they're doing whatever they're doing, and they should be helping you develop your skill set. And there lies the leadership qualities. But because you've been in the workforce for many years, and now you're re-entering because you're close to retirement, or you retired and for some reason, health reason, finances, something happened, some event happened. Excuse me, everything is, if I get one more mosquito. but but if I think about it, everything will bother you, including, you're not actually training that person. That person is training you. And you may actually have taken a job that you used to do years ago, but the systems have changed. Technology has changed. Now we have AI, artificial intelligence. You heard of that, right? There are many different formats that you will have to learn. Maybe you were using Excel before. They added all sorts of things to Excel. Maybe I know the basic Excel. That's it. Because my job was pretty much to speak and ask the questions and interview. I didn't sit there doing a whole lot of Excel all day long. No, I didn't create reports all day long. That wasn't even my job, right? So I have to imagine, because someone says, "Hey, Kate, come on and work for us." Oh yeah, you have to crank out reports all day. And I'll be the first to tell them, that wouldn't be me. I got everything else now. But you might need somebody else for that piece anyway. And then what you do is you have to sell your skills and upskill yourself. Upsell is not a bad idea either, but upskill is really better. Okay. That's really what I meant to upskill. I know I said upscale and upscale your background. Well, the more experience you get, the more upscale your career background will also get. Because every time you take a new position, something hopefully more challenging, not the same exact position, but something more challenging, you're going to find that it can work in different environments, different work environments. So just tap in to those skills that you were well aware of, that you're really good at, and elevate your career journey, even though your career journey may be, you know, near the edge of I'm really going to fully retire in the next 3 or 4 years or 5 years, something like that. So, let's see here. Anybody? All right, just double check it. Okay, so if you're coming in, I just want you to know that that's one of the strategies I wanted to just bring that to your attention today. So there's two things here. Let me regroup. How do you, there's going to be, I'm going to give you 3 tips on re-entering the workforce, right? As a more mature worker, some people might say as an older worker or aged worker, or a worker of a certain age or age group, etc. But I love all the seasoned workers out there, no matter what, because whatever you bring to the table, I can assure you it's going to be needed. There are skills that people have to learn early on, and then they build on that, and then they become an expert at it. And so you may consider yourself to be an expert. But one of the things you want to keep in mind as you, and I said 3 things, as you're going to re-enter that workforce, I want you to and go in and use your emotional intelligence, your EI, not your AI as an artificial, but your EI, emotional intelligence. That's it. That's number 1, emotional intelligence. And I'll tell you why. Because you know how you could react, say, for example, you've been in the workforce so long, you remember working on a team and so didn't show up. They were supposed to do what they were supposed to do. They never showed up. They didn't care. They had a nonchalant attitude. Nope, all of that. You're not, I'm telling you, if you're a school worker, that's probably not going to work for you if you're sharing on the same team. But you have to remember why you're there in the first place. The employer hired you based on your particular skill set. Now, you may be able to diffuse some things or issues that come along, as you're working on a project. But essentially, the employer knows what your strengths are, and they're really counting and banking on, if you are a more mature worker, they're counting on you for that emotional intelligence to keep things rolling in a positive direction. So if there's some friction on the team that you've been tasked to be in, perhaps they may have you as the team lead. And don't sell yourself out, because that's not a bad thing. And you can always ask, is there any additional monies that will come along with you elevating me to run this team? So you may be the lead project manager or what have you. And even on a full-time or contract basis, I'm just saying, you can have that conversation. If it's about finance and you're only going to be in the workforce for a few years, then that's what you could talk about that, but there's always ways to talk about it. There's a time, and you'll know when the right time is, because as they start talking, hey, we're tapping into you because we think you may be great to move this team in a right direction versus where it is now, based on your skill set that you've gained over the years, over 10, 20 years in a workforce, 15, 30 years in a workforce, they love it. So if they really love it, then they should tag you not only with the task at hand, but perhaps adding the financial compensation to that. So that's number 1. Emotional intelligence. Bring that with you from day one, from the time of the interview, the screening, all the way through. Cover all of your bases. Number two, you want to keep your expectations, okay? Keep your expectations, and I'm not kidding you, keep your expectations high, not low. Keep them high. I don't want you to think, well, okay, I'm in the workforce, but I only plan on being in the workforce. I know I'm an older worker, more mature worker, very seasoned worker. I don't plan on being in the workforce for another 10 years. Okay, maybe that's true. But in the same time, you're still there. You still have a job to do. That's why you're hired. They love you. Obviously, they like you. They like what they saw. Your resume was great. Your references were excellent, and people around you know about your character. All of that. So all of that got you there into that company. You have something that they want and need, and they have high expectations. What happens is maybe the seasoned worker, the older worker, the more mature worker will come in with the attitude and not the emotional intelligence, as I said, was the number one. And they'll lower their expectations for themselves. And that is what you do not want to do. I'm shaking my head. No, no, no. Do not lower your expectations of capital YOU because you're coming in and you may not, you know for a fact probably you're not going to be in that workforce another 10 years. If you're in that workforce another 10 minutes, every minute should have a high expectation of you so that you will be able to build strength with, really build strength, collaborating with people in the workplace, at your job, letting other people know how you work, showing up on time, doing what is asked of you, and then some without burnout, without being burnt out, but just keeping it fresh and let them miss you if you decided you were going to leave the next day. Keep your expectations high of you, not low. Don't slouch down under where people, well, they won't ask me to do anything anyway because I've been out of the workforce so long that no. Keep your expectations high and let them even think higher of you. All right. So number one, I said emotional intelligence. Bring that with you. The mindset. You got to tap into that because you're going to get a whole lot of things going on in the workforce today that wasn't there 20, 30 years ago. Trust me and believe that it's a fact. Keep your expectations high no matter what as you move throughout the day, as you move throughout your career journey with this company, even if you're in there for 3 or 4 years, less than 10. Um, the last one I want to say, and this is interesting, you might find it interesting, and that is really, you want to just think about motivation. Okay. I always write it down. As a matter of fact, I just wrote it down right now again for me. Motivation. And what is your why? Now, I'm a coach. I'm a certified. Yes, I am a coach, certified life coach, where I help you navigate both your career and your life skills journey. But I'm also the no sugar coating coach. Go ahead and hashtag that out. And that means I don't sugarcoat it. And when I do, it is definitely professional, diplomatic, and all of that with grace. But, no, I can't work with you if you don't want to know the truth. I won't. It doesn't make sense for me to say something that doesn't even make sense. And then you go in the wrong direction. And now your career didn't go any further than it was before you started out talking to me. So I tell people to keep motivated. Find what motivates you because we're all motivated by different things. Is it money that motivates you? Okay, if that's what the case is, then there it is. I can tell you usually that doesn't last very long because we all want the money at some point, right? Some of us may not need the money as much as others, but again, it's going to be your personal choice. I don't know what your why is, but you have to find out what is your why. Why did you go and re-enter the workforce in the first place as a more mature, seasoned, or older worker? Why did you decide to do that? There are many reasons. I already talked about that early on. Sometimes it's financial. There's a change, in family life. A lot of people divorced, found themselves separated, where now the money is split, but you have this and they have that, and it's just not enough. You still have bills in your own name that needs to be paid. Divorced or not, separated or not, they have to be paid, right? So there's many things, just a lot of things too with finances, because people were laid off. There was, the whole COVID thing. People started to pivot with their careers. They found themselves out in the workforce again, or working from home, or being laid off. And they're like, what? This happened to me. I'm this age and now you're laying me off. Are you kidding me? And that's a reality that you want to put in perspective. And so that you're not waiting to the last minute and trying to figure out, why am I here again? Know your why before you re-enter the workforce. And that would go for any age, but especially I'm talking to my seasoned professionals, mature workers, older workers. Um, you know, this is just how I see it. And if you aren't motivated, then and don't know your why, you know, then you're going to have more difficulties in that work environment. It doesn't matter if you're working from home, remotely or not. It's just in general, you're going to find difficulty keeping up in the workforce, because you're just there, you're just existing, but you're not really living out. Maybe this is a dream of yours, your dream job, and so you must have goals. And that's where you tie your goals into what you're passionate about, and you will develop what your why is. And by the way, I say this, if you don't have to have just one why. Why should you have just one why? You can have more than one why. It may be your children, it could be your grandchildren, it could be a different family member, it could be someone that raised you, guardians, or if it weren't your parent or parents, or whomever raised you. So, whatever your why is, um, that's what you want to keep in mind. But not only that, you want to understand the motivation behind the why. And I really believe you will be even more successful than you were before you said yes to that job offer. So, those were my three strategies for you. And again, I hope you enjoyed the live today. Again, if you're just joining, you missed a whole portion of this segment. I do plan on being on YouTube Live a lot more as we're going into that fourth quarter and getting on into 2024. And like I said, it's coming up on September. Between September and October, I talk a lot about career development. I want to see where we are, where you are. Make sure you can inbox me, invite me to speak, inspire, motivate, and empower your audience. I am available now. And again, I am hashtag speaker for hire, emphasis on hire. And I appreciate that. So again, if you know someone that is looking for a speaker or presenter on career development topics, whatever that may entail, they are customized to that audience. Or there's a conference coming up. A lot of women's conferences are coming up in the fall. I am available for that, but my audience is co-ed. So either way, whoever's listening can invite me, or at least send my name or this video. Go ahead and share it out so they can see themselves how I communicate to my audience. So I appreciate you for listening. Again, I'm Toye Johnson-Vincent, your no sugarcoating coach. Make sure you check out my website, TJV Empowers You, the letter u.com. Again, TJV Empowers You, the letter u.com. I'm on all social media platforms. Make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. Of course, subscribe, share, and like my YouTube channel, tell somebody about it, this particular episode and post. And there's several more that you want to go back. You can go back 2 or 3 years, and it doesn't matter. I just hope that you go back and check out my content. You might find something there that you like and want me to speak. Currently based in the greater Atlanta area. I am a native New Yorker, so if you have something going on between there and also Boston as well, which was my career journey where it all started. I appreciate you. If you have some events going on, let me know. Just try to go to my LinkedIn profile, and you can inbox me there, inbox and invite me, or send, let somebody know that you've heard about me and tell them to say, hey, so and so is listening to Coach Toye Johnson-Vincent's live on YouTube, and they're looking for a speaker. How about that? Or a presenter or a trainer. I do classroom style and conference style speaking. So yeah, we'll get to the bottom of it. You've done your homework. You've already seen me. If you like, please like and share, subscribe to my channel. And again, my podcast show is Speak to Me First Podcast Show. Speak to Me First Podcast Show. Hopefully you'll check it out. If you got your phone, just pull up Google Cast, Spotify, Anchor FM, all of those things, all of those platforms, which is now Spotify for podcasters. So you can even hear me on Amazon. How about that? The podcasts are now uploaded to YouTube and Amazon. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. With one last thing to say, as I say before I end all of my broadcasts. First of all, have a wonderful week and or weekend, right? Be safe out there. And one last thing, you have something in you. Make sure you don't let that leave you or just stay within you. Share it with the world. Share your content. Share your brilliance and your excellence. And just in case you forgot and no one has said it to you lately, success is in your future. Bye for now.